the more our consciousness is crowded, the more our conscience becomes clouded. Suppose we are walking through a crowded road where people are pushing against each other. Where if in that crush a pickpocket reaches into our purse and steals our credit card, we may not even notice the theft. In general, when we have too much to process, we may miss out on processing things that matter the most. We may not even be able to process what matters how much. This principle applies to our inner world also. If our consciousness is crowded with too many stimuli, we can't discern which stimuli are favorable and which unfavorable. This faculty for discernment is our conscience. And like all other faculties, it requires consciousness to function. Consciousness is the basic resource that makes all our other resources usable. We may be good cooks, but if we are distracted, we can't cook well. Similarly, if we may be, even if our conscience is well trained, still, if our consciousness is distracted, we can't discern properly. And when we are not able to discern among various stimuli, then our pleasure-seeking tendency makes us gravitate toward enjoyable stimuli, especially those that don't seem overtly objectionable. And when we get a little pleasure, we start seeking more pleasurable stimuli, and gradually we may degenerate in the search for pleasure into activities that we would normally never do. The Bhagavad-gita cautions that when Bhagavad-gita 16:16 states that aneka chitta vibhranta mohajala samavritaha prasaktaha kama bhogeshu patanti narakeshu chau, that when our consciousness is split up in too many things crowd our consciousness, we get deluded and then we get dragged down into sensuality and eventually make our life hellish. So, how can we decrease the crowding of our consciousness? By simplifying our life. To some extent, the world's complexity means that there will be a lot of stimuli in our consciousness, but when we make our life unnecessarily complex, then that further increases the crowding in our consciousness. Simplicity doesn't mean poverty. It just means minimizing unimportant choices, thereby freeing our thinking for more important choices. For example, if we go through 50 clothes every morning to decide what to wear, we are burdening our minds unnecessarily. If we learn to limit inconsequential options and standardize daily choices, we can significantly simplify our lives. And then if we use the simplicity to focus on spirituality, then we will connect with the all pure divine, the supreme spiritual reality, the all pure divine, and that connection will purge our inner world of unsavory stimuli, thereby further decreasing the crowding of our consciousness. So when we thus simplify and spiritualize our life, our consciousness becomes clearer, our conscience becomes sharper, and our choices become wiser. Thank you.